Well, what have we here? Some people may have noticed in some of my other videos that there's been a engine sat on a bench covered in cloth, and it's been this one, which is going to be and should have been Asbo 49 quite some time ago, because we've had number 50 come and go. This one was before that in the queue, but we ran into some issues and I'm going to talk about those. But this engine's been totally stripped and rebuilt. It's had anything replaced that needed replacing, that's the long story short. And we've got high compression piston fitted there, although not the usual Meteor Minor Sports one, which gives at least 9-to-1 compression, but this here will probably give us about 8-to-1. And the gearbox has been rebuilt. Like I said, anything that needed replacing has been replaced. We replaced the big end as well, and various other things. And I've actually got video footage of a few early stages of the job, which I'll probably link up and make the whole story with one day. But I thought I'd pick up, it's been quite a stalled project for quite some time, this one, and I thought I'd discuss why that is. Well, I only had the cylinder head, or cylinder head work, left to go. So what I decided I would do is I'd get the valves and guides out, and we get some of the slim stemmed valves and guides that you can get, which are a nice little upgrade. And you see the new guides there, but there's a story there as well. The inlet guide went in nicely, and I was able to grind the inlet valve in. I've ported this head. I was very happy with the porting work as well, actually. Let's see if we can get some light into it. It's upside down there obviously, but I was very pleased with the inlet and the exhaust port, which obviously I did the porting work after removing the valve guides but before fitting the new ones, so that they wouldn't be in the way. And once I'd done that, I fitted an inlet valve guide and found that it was possible to grind the inlet valve in no time, and it seated nicely, and I fitted it along with the spring and cap and everything, and then I moved on and turned my attention to the exhaust valve, the last hurdle. So I got my valve guide and warmed the cylinder head up and went to fit it, and it just dropped in. So I ordered an oversized guide, which comes, the slim stem ones come in 5 thou oversize only, so I ordered one of them, and guess what, that dropped in as well. So what I did then, hold on, somewhere around here, here it is. I got the guide that I removed, and I asked the machinist to make me a slim stem type valve guide up with as large a diameter, outside diameter, as this one, which was about 12 thousandths of an inch oversized. And he took this to measure up from, and immediately found that not only was it not quite round externally, but it was also sort of slightly lopsided and tapered. And it would appear that somebody possibly made it deliberately like that to combat a slightly skew-if boss for it in the head, if you like. But anyway, he made my oversized guide, which is still in there, and I had to heat the head up very hot, and it was still quite a drive-in fit, but it went in apparently nicely all the way. And then I offered up the exhaust valve guide and started the process of grinding it in. And I hadn't been going very long. I thought I'll just take the valve out and just see how close or not the seating is, and sure enough, it was way out. So I got the valve seat cutter out and started cutting the valve seat. By the time I got the valve dropping in and touching the seat all the way around, it was barely touching one edge of the seat, because the valve and guide were so out of step with the seat. The concentricity was really skew-if. So I thought, right, I'm in trouble here. I'll take the cylinder head up to someone who can get the valve seat out and fit a new one, possibly with a smaller throat that we could actually sort of ease out slightly lopsided to compensate and all would be well. But that wasn't a goer either, so I was now stuck with a cylinder head that had already had welding work done to fix a cracked head steady area. I'd already ported it, I'd already fitted and was happy with the inlet valve and guide, etc. But this was a problem. Now the guy who made me the oversized valve guide, which was pretty expensive for what it was, I think it cost me about 60 quid that, I took it back to him and asked him if he would be able to somehow slightly bore out and true up the hole which the boss which the valve guide fits through, and make yet another valve guide up, and we could fit that and then fit a valve seat and everything should line up. However, he started making noises of £600, so I thought, well, hang on a minute, we might need a plan B here. So that's what I did. So this cylinder head, what I've done is I've sort of given the owner a bit of a credit on it, and I hope that one day, perhaps more at my leisure, I might be able to sort it out myself or get someone to look at it and sort it out for a good bit less than £600. So that's his head, that's staying here. Here's a head that I found among my bits and pieces which didn't appear too bad. So what I did with it, I got the valve guides out of this one, ported this one. Now the owner of the engine only pays for one porting job. Got it all ported and ready to go, but there was a slight problem with this one. Well, there was a few actually. The gasket face wasn't very nice at all, so I've had that skimmed. I had the valve seats recut after fitting the new valve guides, which thankfully fitted nicely, and the valves are ground in. But one last hurdle was there was a damaged thread where the decompressor screws into the cylinder head. So I asked if I could have an insert put in there, which is what's happened. And if I can find my torch, we might even get a look at it. There it is. We've finally got decent thread in there and the decompressor screws in well, but the valve seats have been cut, the gasket face had been skimmed, and the phone rang, and it was the guy who does my rebores and regrinds and did all this work and so on. I thought, great, he's going to tell me the job's finished, come and collect your cylinder head. So I said, oh great, how's it going, is my head ready? And he said, well actually I've got a problem, I've got some bad news. I've tried to put an insert in, but it went in a little bit wonky, and I've taken it out and I haven't got any more, and I don't know how I'm going to true the hole up. So I thought, after all this, I'm going to have another more or less scrap cylinder head here. But then he decided that he had an idea and he could get a different type of insert and use a sort of bush in the hole where the decompressor fits to force his threading tap in there straight rather than on the skew if, and he's put in the insert with a slightly larger wall thickness, and thankfully it's gone in straight. So finally I think I'm at a stage now where I've got a cylinder head all ready to go, ported with slim stem valves and guides and competition springs and everything, and a refaced gasket face, reseated valves, good threads to put on Asbo 49, and hopefully finally be able to wave it goodbye. But what a story this one's been, and the cylinder heads and the forces that have worked against me with those two have been unbelievable really, but I'm just so grateful that finally there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully we can get number 49 boxed up soon and back off to its owner. And I suppose the next one will be 51 if and when that ever turns up, but we'll have another quick look at this when the cylinder head's on, just to round the story off with any luck, but this is number 49, hopefully soon to be ready to go home. I was starting to wonder if I'd ever see the day, but here at last is Asbo 49, and it's all rebuilt now and ready to go in a box and go back to Portugal where it came from. And to help me recap on what's been done, because it's been such a long time, although I've got written notes that I could look at, I can look at these bits and pieces here and I know what I've done, and as well as various gaskets obviously being changed and seals. It's had a replacement inlet cam because that was badly worn, replacement oil feed pump, replacement oil pump drive spindle, replacement cam followers. Look at the state of that. That's about the worst I've ever seen. Sometimes you can reface them, but the wear on them was so deep it wasn't really viable. New bush outboard of the timing side main bearing behind the timing pinion. There's a bush, I think that's from one of the idler gears in the timing chest. So all that's been done. New main bearings, crank pin, big end, conrod, they've all been changed. The valves, of course, we know all about that little scenario. There's the old piston, it's got a higher compression piston in than that now. And the gearbox was also opened up for inspection. It's had a new kickstart spring that was broken. And obviously I fitted new seals, although there's no other parts there. I'm pretty sure I remember inspecting the shafts and the gears and finding everything to be in order there. So that's all been taken care of. And this is the old 376 monoblock carburettor that was on it, and we're now going to be going with a 389. This is an inch diameter, and the one that will be going on it will be 1 1/8 inch, and as well as the 106 needle jet that it will come with, I've asked for a 107, and I've also asked for 180 and 200 sized main jets for it, and a number 3 throttle slide cutaway. So that'll be the replacement carburettor to go with the ported head and the improved breathing. So there we are, at last, finally. Look at this side of it as well. It was a long and painful birth, but there at last is Asbo number 49. What a relief to see that finally in one piece and ready to go home. I think I might celebrate tonight.